If you're anti-war, you're a terrorist. If you're anti-data centers being built in your backyard, you're a terrorist. If you're anti-Israel, you're a terrorist. That's the future we're looking at. You can't be a fucking son of a billionaire without the American government deciding you're going to prison now. If they can do that to that guy, you're fucked. I'm fucked. We're all fucked. McCarthy 2.0 dropping tonight. It already started dropping. My suspicion is the American government has started moving on a lot of people that they're claiming are wealthy benefactors of the American communist movement, or what exists of the American communist movement. They already arrested, the Spanish government already arrested Fergie Chambers, I believe his name is. Fergie Chambers, who is he's like a famous, super wealthy guy from the Cox family. I believe he has like $250 million or something. He's an interesting dude, right? I don't know him. I know of him, but he has been a major donor to pro-Palestinian causes all around the world, right? He took his family money. He denounced the family. He said, fuck you guys. I'm a communist, all this stuff. And here's the thing. The American government arrested him, got him to be arrested in Spain when he was on a family trip. And now they're demanding his extradition to the United States of America. So this is one aspect of this. This dude has been funding a lot of pro-Palestinian charities all around the world, and that's the reason, as an American citizen, he's doing this. That's the reason why they're coming after him. They're saying that he's a terrorist. He's like offering material support to terrorist groups, and it's total fraudulent charges. But it's a huge, in my opinion, it's a huge deal because it's they're starting to move on a lot of these people. An administration that comes after this dude like this, especially a wealthy guy, is easily going to come after all of you as well. The fact that Spain is collaborating with the American government on this is crazy. Okay, it's totally ridiculous. We just got PSO'd again. I thought you guys were really invested in the pro-Palestine movement. Yeah, the Fergie Chambers extradition case is what I and lots of other people have been yelling about for the last few years. Administrative or legal systems in the U.S. is created to use abroad are coming for you. Sanctions are coming for you. Terrorism designations are coming. Denaturalization is coming. Retroactive decisions about every part of your legal identity are coming. The big legal effort now by the government is to make the foreign and domestic more and more permeable, so the frontier downrange, the sandbox, Indian country is everywhere. Nikhil Paul Singh absolutely nailed it. Trump's real innovation has been to marry the archaic geopolitics of a settler empire to the modern legal frameworks devised by his liberal predecessors. This is all you need to know. And because America is all around the world all the time, there's not really anywhere you can go. You can't go to Spain. Spain is supposed to be a woke country, right? You can't be a fucking son of a billionaire with like $250 million in your bank account and fucking fly to Spain without the American government deciding you're going to prison now. If they can do that to that guy, you're fucked. I'm fucked. We're all fucked. This is terrifying, especially considering that a lot of the surveillance systems and a lot of the internet that we all use internationally is run by American corporations that have backdoors to American state surveillance agencies. So it doesn't take much for them to track whatever the fuck they want to track and decide that there's sufficient fake evidence that they can materialize out of nowhere to decide that you're actually a criminal. Things in the Western liberal capitals world are changing at an alarming pace, and no one is aware of it. Okay? I've been yelling about this for years at this point. Liberalism is over. Fascism is coming. And to a certain degree, depending on what class of citizen you are, fascism is already here, okay? What's happening today to undocumented migrants is going to happen to you tomorrow. We're here. It's happening. Wake the fuck up and alert your friends and your family and your neighbors and start organizing. This conference, I was watching clips of this conference. It's fucking terrifying, dude. It is so worrisome for the First Amendment, for political organizing in this country, and people don't realize it. I suspect that, yes, PSL and groups like that will get designated as terrorist groups, the SA2 probably. This moves me into the second part of this equation. The Trump administration doesn't really give a fuck about communism. They don't really care about the DSA. Okay? Matter of fact, they might even like some of the members of DSA, like Zoran Mamdani. They want to do this to every dissident. Okay? They want to do this to every dissident. They're not taking an ideological anti-communist stance here. They think every liberal is a communist. Communism doesn't mean what you think it means. Communism doesn't mean the end state of a different economic organization of society by way of socialism, where we arrive at a classless, moneyless, borderless society. That's not what they're thinking. What they're thinking is anyone that actually is even remotely to our left is an enemy of the state. They're not us. They need to go to perma-jail. That's what it is. It's a catch-all terminology for Nancy Pelosi and myself. This is important to understand.
President Trump issued a directive in our parlance. It's called a National Security Presidential Memorandum, or NSPM, NSPM 7 to be exact, that directs for the first time in American history all of our law enforcement and intelligence agencies to work together to disrupt, identify, defund, debank, arrest, and prosecute these political terrorists that are operating in our country.
Dude, it's fucking genuinely terrifying. They are going to try to tie, I think, the international left movement back to, because there's no domestic terrorism statute. That doesn't mean that they can't prosecute people under a terrorism definition regardless, which they have done so, like in the case of the Prairieland 5, right? Or 8, sorry.
Last November, the State Department designated 4 violent far-left extremist groups as foreign terrorist organizations. And there will be more designations soon.
They are going to, as I was saying, because there's no domestic terror statute, because there's no domestic terrorism statute, because it directly contradicts the First Amendment, what they're trying to do is claim that any leftist with an internationalist framework, any leftist that's any left group that is, against America's actions in Cuba, against Americans' actions in Gaza, against Americans' actions in Iran, and liberals too, are technically a part of this broad, all-encompassing foreign terror cell. Okay? That's what they're trying to do. They are trying to whip up any kind of restraint that Americans are demanding for its unbelievably militaristic foreign policy apparatus as a significant threat to the interests of the state as terrorists. Yeah, there's 65 governments that have signed on board for this, by the way, just so you understand. This also, obviously, considering that many people organize on the internet and they can still maintain a sense of anonymity on the internet, what do you have to do? You have to make sure that everyone is de-anonymized, that there is no more anonymity on the internet. Where do you think the ID laws are coming from? All around the world. This is a part of it. They want to make sure that they surveil you every step of the way, no matter where you go. Okay? They start off with these digital IDs. They can identify you on the internet, and they can designate you as a terrorist. And because the terrorism statute in this country is specifically designed to be all-encompassing, it's specifically designed to take away your due process rights, anyone that is declared a terrorist can be prosecuted like that. Evidence is not necessary. Real evidence is not necessary. A real crime does not need to take place. They can just determine that you are a criminal because you are a terrorist. America did this in the global war on terror to random Muslims all around the world. They would just black bag people, put them in CIA black sites and torture them and then ship them to Gitmo. Isn't this way worse than McCarthyism by like 1,000? Yes, because technological advancements have made it so that people can organize anonymously on the internet, or people can let their opinions be known on the internet anonymously under the guise of anonymity. But that also has made it so that there are new mechanisms of surveillance as well. This might literally be our last shot, our last chance before complete fascist takeover, using all of the available tools that technology has given them, where your thoughts can be analyzed and determined to be dangerous. Advertisers already know exactly how to map out a psychographic profile to figure out exactly when you're more likely to pay more for an American burger from McDonald's. They can use similar AI-based technologies to map out if you are having bad thoughts against the government, and determine that you're a threat to the state, determine that you're a terrorist, and decide to prosecute you and throw you in jail. That is the new design, and people are completely oblivious to it. Terrifying prospect. And it doesn't just, by the way, this is, if you want to understand how this is going to be impactful across the board, if you think that this is just going to be like, lefty losers, communists or whatever, make no mistake. I've seen the terrorism designation. I've covered it extensively on this broadcast. Okay? I covered the terrorism designation on this broadcast. It's all encompassing. They say anti-American behavior, anti-family behavior is considered a telltale marker for terrorism. So it's not just going to be people like us. It's going to be the fucking people that tune into the pod John. It's going to be people, grandmothers, grandfathers that go out and protest at a No Kings rally. If you think it's just going to be liberals, you're also wrong. They're already adding additional statutes. The Marco Rubio-led summit tomorrow will unveil a new terror designation for militant anti-tech and anti-Semitic networks. That's right. U.S. is targeting anti-tech, pro-Iranian, and anti-Semitic networks with new 3-letter designation. So first it was just like anti-Christian behavior, right? Anti-family behavior, anti-American behavior. But now, if you have an opinion on a data center being built in your backyard, which as we know is not a partisan issue at all, it is the most nonpartisan issue. Israel and data centers are some of the most across the board nonpartisan issues that Americans are facing right now. As a matter of fact, given that it's oftentimes being built in rural neighborhoods and rural communities, there are a lot of Republicans who fucking hate this shit. Now they will be considered far left terrorists. If you're anti-war, you're a terrorist. If you're anti-data centers being built in your backyard, you're a terrorist. If you're anti-Israel, you're a terrorist. That's the future we're looking at. Eventually, if you're anti-capitalist, you're a terrorist, obviously. If you're against flock cameras, you're a terrorist. If you're against mass surveillance, you're a terrorist. If you're against companies placing the interests of profits over the interests of the people, you're an anti-capitalist, and therefore, you guessed it, you're a terrorist. States' talking points drop any pretense that this is a politically neutral endeavor. Officials are instructed to rely on the following talking points per the leaked documents. We go where the threat is. Political terrorism is resurgent, and the far-left terrorism specifically poses a unique and distinctive threat today. Addressing and defeating that is the focus of the Ministerial. The United States has observed a concerning convergence between violent far-left and anarchist networks and other violent extremist actors, including violent pro-Iranian and anti-Semitic networks, as well as militant anti-tech and eco-terrorist movements. This is a trend we are monitoring closely and engaging partners to address. The Ministerial will focus world attention on the resurgence of political terrorism and bring together the United States and foreign partners to address the terrorist actors, particularly far-left terrorist networks operating across Europe, Asia, the Western Hemisphere, and beyond, and focus on improving coordination, information sharing, and practical law enforcement cooperation to counter political terrorism, including violent far-left attacks on law enforcement, critical infrastructure, political figures, and state institutions. Political terrorism is resurgent, particularly among far-left terrorist networks that have grown more sophisticated. They leverage decentralized cell structures, encrypted communications, and transnational coordination to carry out attacks on rail, energy, and telecommunications infrastructure, as well as targeted violence against political figures and their families. When has this happened? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? The only time where there have been coordinated attacks, or at least like lone wolf attacks that are triggered, they come from Terrorgram, and they're far-right white nationalist neo-Nazis, esoteric neo-Nazis. If you're looking at Order of Nine Angles, that's far-right. And they're shooting up mosques. They're trying to kill black and brown people. If you're looking at attacks on the infrastructure, attacks on critical infrastructure, again, that's Atomwaffen, another far-right neo-Nazi movement. None of these are communist movements. None of these are communist movements. And of course, obviously, the administration famously the DOJ deleted its own study from the website showing far more domestic terrorism is committed by far-right extremists. This was back in September 2025. The Department of State is committed to confronting organized political violence, including from far-left terrorists and other aligned groups that engage in or support terrorist or criminal activities, economic sabotage, or support far-left terrorist-led violent actions. In support of this effort, the Department of the State is announcing a new visa restriction policy that targets members of far-left terrorists and other aligned groups who have supported or incited acts of terrorism, supported violent criminal activity, participated in economic sabotage, including against public and private property, financed, recruited, or provided logistical support for violent or criminal actions committed by far-left terrorists and other aligned groups, and or facilitated the convergence of far-left terrorists and other aligned networks for the purposes of economic sabotage. McCarthyism is coming back. My hope is that liberals will wake up to the reality and be on the right side this time, okay? Because if it's socialism or barbarism, I don't think liberals want to live in a world where fascism is the norm.